Well, pitch side at the Etihad Stadium, Newcastle United take on Manchester City here, the Premier League champions, at 3 p.m. And really, you look at this fixture down the years and it's been an absolute nightmare for Newcastle. They've lost on the last 10 visits here, you know, against a Manchester City side who spent a lot of money to get where they are. But is that gap closing now? It does feel like that, and Newcastle really come here today, and you probably would give them their best chance probably since the takeover for Newcastle to get 3 points here at the Etihad Stadium. You look at the fixture list, recently Newcastle dropping points against Bournemouth and Fulham, but realistically Man City are absolutely rocking at the minute. Even when they go in front in a game, they seem to throw the lead away, and Newcastle will fancy this today. I liken it to going to Old Trafford a few weeks ago. Every year it was getting less and less daunting going to Old Trafford, and Newcastle finally got a Premier League win on the board there under Eddie Howe. Today they're trying to do it at Manchester City. Would be the first Premier League away win against Man City for 25 years. Newcastle United fans will fancy this today. It will be tough, but certainly there'll be gaps to exploit in that Manchester City defence. This is a big opportunity for Newcastle United. Well, unfortunately, Newcastle United have been well beaten here today against Manchester City. I did go into this game, like a lot of people, hoping that this could be the end of the Etihad hoodoo for Newcastle here. But the way Newcastle started the game, it never looked likely. They were blown away by an Omar Marmoush hat-trick, a 14-minute hat-trick that gives City an unassailable 3-0 lead. And you know, interestingly, I say unassailable. Man City have had unassailable leads this season in games. 3-0 up against the likes of Feyenoord. They were leading here against Manchester United and threw it away. There's been numerous other occasions where Man City have, you know, been at their most vulnerable when they were winning by a comfortable margin, but not today. Newcastle did not look like a team capable of putting up a fight at 3-0 down, and even after the break, when there was numerous changes which had to be made, they still couldn't get any type of foothold in the game. The only thing they needed was the final whistle, and they would concede a fourth goal from McAtee later on. But unbelievably, Newcastle will now slip the 7th place in the Premier League, and that situation, that great situation that they were in, you know, looking at a Champions League place, now looks a little bit under threat with Nottingham Forest next up. Well, just leaving the Etihad Stadium now, and sadly, it's that familiar feeling, isn't it, losing at the Etihad, and losing heavily as well, which was not a good experience, obviously, but not one that we haven't suffered before. But I think the positive, if there is a positive, for me was that Eddie Howe did not look like a man taking any flack, and in his press conference, basically, in the past, I think he sort of, when asked about substitutions, he's kind of said, you know, this player had a knock, or this player was struggling or feeling under the weather. he just, when I asked him that today, he just gave a straight no. Those players went off because they hadn't played well, and I think it's a wake-up call for all of them really, including, you know, big names like Bruno Guimaraes going off, Anthony Gordon, Kieran Trippier. No player was free from you know, the threat of being taken off, and I think that was notable for me. The quicker this game gets put to bed now for Newcastle, the better. It was a horrible first half, going 3-0 down, and then after the break Newcastle couldn't put any type of fight up, and ultimately are well beaten here at Man City. So we move on. It's Nottingham Forest next. They also lost today, but I think really Newcastle had a great chance to do something good at Man City today, and they just weren't up to the task, unfortunately.